here's another cluster. Look at all those berries. And it all coming from, there's the pruning place, that little dark place right there. That's where it was pruned. And 1, 2 laterals coming just below the pruning place. And there's 20 berries right there. So I thought it'd be a good time to come out here and show you the primocane crop, the summer crop, I guess you'd call it, or the everbearing crop. You can get off these primocane blackberries. These are Primark Freedoms. Look at those huge berries. I mean, that is 1.25 inches long probably, and fat. That one's a lot fatter, maybe not quite as long, but a lot fatter. On the backside here, they're just, it's hanging down, it's loaded so much. Look at that. You know, not all of them are like that. And what they're doing on the very terminal ends, that's where they produce this time of year. We've got a lot of blooms. We've got, again, that right there. I've got here. This needs to be pinched. That is a primocane. That is my wire, my trellis wire. I should have pruned it, you know, 3 or 4 inches above the wire, but I'll just go ahead and pinch it off right there. Pinch off the very leading end, and that will start to really make those laterals right there. All these laterals will really start growing, and that will give me a lot of berries, summertime berries. In this little crop. Now, I pinched that one off right there, and you can see, and this, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 ago, and you can see the lateral growing there and a lateral growing here. It kind of looks like I didn't pinch it off, but I can see that I did right there. But this is growing a lateral kind of right on top of that where the leading end, the edge was. And then there, that one I should have picked yesterday. I don't know. I started to say it looks a little bug sucked, and it does, but big berry on the other side here. And again, at this time of year, they typically cluster right on the terminal ends. Now that one has been was pruned right there, pinched off, and it has been my experience, and I've shown you this in the past, that this time of year in the summertime on primocanes, the majority of the fruit will be on the terminal ends, will be at the very end of the cane. There's another cane that needs to get pinched off right there. It's up above my trellis wire. There's my trellis wire. I'll pinch it off, and that will encourage, won't force, but encourage these that cane to produce laterals, which will produce more berries. Another big berry right there. Some smaller ones coming on. This seems to be, I've got a few down here, but this is the biggest clusters, the biggest berries are right here. We'll go ahead and get these picked. Well, the ones that have got a little red on them now, I don't pick those. So, but we got some little ones coming on, you know, some small berries right there, and small berries right there. It's just a great time for berry production is on primocanes now. I'm talking Primark Traveler, Primark Freedom. There's other Prime Arc varieties that produce on the primocanes. If you don't have primocanes, then your canes are not going to produce this year. If you have in other words, if you have a floricane variety, not a primocane variety, I should have said, they're not going to produce crop the first year. They're not going to produce berries on the cane that has just come up. That's the primocane. It'll be next year before they do that. But these are primocanes, and they will produce on this year's canes, the canes that just came up, and they'll also produce, that same cane will produce berries next spring, and then they'll die, just like these have died. See, that cane is just deader than a hammer. And it's because it came up last year. It produced some primocane berries last year, just like these. And then in the spring, it produced berries, and then it died. That's just the cycle of a blackberry, especially a primocane blackberry. There's a cane that I have missed. That is, I need to I need to get my tape tying deal out here, but that needs to be pruned right there. And then I don't have my tape tying machine with me, but it'll get tied up right there on that trellis and start producing laterals and start producing berries. That is a willow or something. I've got these all in these blackberries, and I need to cull these. There's another one it was growing sideways and I didn't see it in time. So I'm gonna go ahead and pinch it off because it is way too tall. I mean, it's 2 feet above the trellis wire, and because it was growing sideways, laterally, horizontally, I didn't see it in time to pinch it off. But I got a few berries down this way. But I just wanted to show you that this is a great time to look out there for berries if you're growing primocanes. And I know a lot of you do have the Primark Freedoms, and that's certainly it's what I recommend. I've tried the Travelers, but they were in the ground. This is before I went to containers, and I just didn't get the production. My blackberry field was kind of dying out for several reasons. It was aging out, but also had some issues with gophers and stuff that was just killing the plants. That's one of the reasons I'm here doing containers. And I tried a row of Travelers, about 20-25 plants, and they didn't make it. They just didn't last very long, and just wasn't impressed. But again, it was in a field that had issues, had pest issues, as well as I don't know. I was wanting to migrate to containers anyway. So Travelers, but I've had other people comment on my videos and say they love their Travelers, Primark Traveler. But they've also come out with a couple of varieties. When I say they, I'm talking about the University of Arkansas, that are primocane varieties, and they should have the same traits. They should be doing exactly the same thing, producing now, summer berries now. Now, when I say summer berries, these will produce, depending upon where you live in the zone, in the heat, they will produce berries I'll pinch that one off because it's above the wire. They will produce berries all summer. Now, having said that, let me quickly say they don't produce berries when the temps get above 90, 95 maybe. They stop blooming, so therefore if you're not going to get blooms, you're not going to get berries. So you got to be mindful of that. Why are my blackberries not blooming? Well, look at the thermometer, because if it's 95, they're just not going to bloom. But as it cools off in September, October, then they'll start producing more. So when I say it's an ever-bearing crop, they do kind of slow down and or stop in the summertime. Now, if we get an extended period of cool weather, sometimes we do that in the summer, even here in Texas, where the day temps get to, low 90s or high 80s for 2 or 3 days, these suckers will start blooming again. And once they get that bloom, it'll set that fruit, typically. And here's another example. I pinched that off right here, and I've got a lateral growing just below where I pinched it off. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more laterals. You can see that one starting right there in the nook there, starting to grow, and I'm getting 4, 5, 6 blooms there on top. And look at that. I mean, that's a lot of berries from a pinched off cane. The cane was pinched off. I don't know whether you can see that or not. The cane was pinched off right there. Right there is the end of it, and it's got 1, 2, 3 laterals under that pinch, under that pruning place, and look at all the berries it's producing. Now we're starting to get in. This week's supposed to get hot. It's supposed to be mid to high 90s, so they're probably going to stop blooming for a while, and so this may be the last berries I get unless we do have a cold spell, like I just said. So anyway, look for berries. First of all, grow primocanes. I really, some people don't like them. Some people use them. I don't know, maybe up north I would, I don't know, but some people will go in there and will mow down all the primocanes and not get any kind of a spring crop. I think I really feel like that's a mistake. I mean, and I've told people in the past I thought it was a mistake. A lot of people do that. Maybe up north, maybe that's the thing to do, because these primocanes don't do real well in the cold period. I've had damage when we've gotten real cold. So anyway, that's just what some people do, and I'm not going to discourage it. I'm just going to say I don't understand it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So wife's over there picking some figs. We got a lot of figs for the first time in 2 or 3 years. And here's another cluster. Look at all those berries. And it all coming from, there's the pruning place, that little dark place right there. That's where it was pruned. And 1, 2 laterals coming just below the pruning place. And there's 20 berries right there, easily 20 berries. So, and they're all, you know, they're still young, gonna get big. I guarantee you those will get big, because this time of year, I have found you get the biggest berries. Now, you may not want big berries. You may like little berries. I like big berries. Big berries, somebody said one time big berries have big seeds. And I said, no, big berries make big cobblers. So that's my take on that, and I'm sticking to it. But let's look at that. These are the ones we looked at first, but from a different angle, different side. But look at those. I mean, those are nice. And lots of blooms coming on. It's going to produce even more. And that is coming off of a prune. Right there is where I pruned that one. And the berries, the blooms are coming off of a lateral just below the prune. So don't be afraid to prune your blackberries. In fact, encourage you to prune your blackberries. They love it, they need it, they want it. So I highly encourage you to do it. And if so, this is what you're going to get out of it. You're going to get that. And you're going to love that, especially this time of year, to walk out there in summertime or in the fall and grab you a blackberry. Start grazing as you walk down the row. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, I want to show you that because I get so many questions on pruning and how to prune, and should I cut them all the way to the ground, and you know, just I've got a book that I wrote that covers all this. If you have any questions, now I've got a lot of videos that answer them, but if you don't want to go through 20 videos, then you might want to check out the book. I'll have a link to it below that I wrote on this, and on everything about blackberries, fertilization, pruning, everything. So anyway, it'll be down there if you're interested in it. But prune your blackberries. This is a great time of year to start pruning them because this is when they're growing. Fertilize them. I've shown you some fertilization program, the way I fertilize, but fertilize them and then prune them. Make sure they get plenty of water, especially if you're in containers. Got to have that water every day, and or at least 2 or 3 times a week. Depends on how hot you are. Everything depends on where you're at, and we in Texas, so it's hot. All right, I think that's it. We just got a lot of blackberries in these tubs, and this may be the last year they're in the blue tubs. I think I'm going to earth boxes in the winter. I'm going to swap them over. So I think that's it. Skies are cloudy, may get a little rain. We could use it. All right, we're gone.